Let me just show you guys how I'm doing the doors on the chicken coop here, or at least how I'm doing this one. I should have done it on the other one, but I didn't, and I can always go back and do it as a after fact if I need to. But anyway, I've laid out just the simple square frame, and you know, these doors are so small and they're so light. They're only 20 width-wise. They're only 23¼ inches to the outside, and then height-wise, it's only 64 inches, so they're not real big at all. And this is 3/4 inch lumber. It's super lightweight, so I'm not too worried about them, you know, bowing or sagging under their own weight. But what I've done here is I've cut the inside pieces. So this is actually 17 3/4, and then I've used a pocket screw tool and set in pocket screws on this end to hold it together there, and then up here I've put in pocket screws as well. Now I've run my tape corner to corner to make sure it's square, and it is for the most part. This door for some reason is off by about 1/4 inch, but I left space. Like it should have about a 1/2 inch gap all the way around the door anyway. The doorway it's going in is square, so I'm not too worried about it. I think it'll still fit. But what I did for some extra support was I did run another one of these straps corner to corner. Now you only need one in this instance, and what I'll do is I'll make sure that I hang the hinges on this side, so that if the door does try to sag, it'll try to sag to where this side over here will want to go down towards the ground, but it can't because that metal strap is holding it. So, I mean, I could put the hinges on, you know, so that'll make this the top. I could put the hinges on that side if I wanted to and just make that the top. It doesn't matter. But the fact is, run that strap for some cross support so it shouldn't sag on you. It might still try to because the door is so long and skinny, but I think that's actually better than if it were, you know, wide and short and fat. But anyway, this is just part one. Now I'm going to staple on my chicken wire in the middle, and then I'll overlap and lay on the second row. And so once I get that put on, I'll show you. So now you can see what I've done. I've got the wire put in. Nah, I didn't make the in-between video when I nailed in the wire, but that's because it would have just been a video of nailed in wire. But what I did was, it's now 2 layers thick. I'll show you down here. Oops. You can see there's, you know, board underneath and then a board on top. Maybe show you the outside view, it might be a little easier. So you can see the seam there between the boards. And so what I did was, with the first frame laid out like I showed you on the first part of the video when it was just screwed together, I went ahead and just nailed the wire directly to that. So all around the perimeter of the wire is nailed to that first frame, and then just covered it up with the second part of the frame, the second half of the door basically. But the key is, on the first frame that I showed you, recall this short board down here was inside of the longer outer boards. And so now on this half of the door, I've made it be the long board, and the longer verticals, I've cut them to be the inside boards. So what that does is that gives me an overlap. So on the first frame, the seam was here. On the second half of the frame, the seam is here. And so I've got this overlapping joint here. So I don't put the pocket screws in this side. I don't really need them. I've got the first side pocket screw together holding tight. So on the second side, I just put base screws in it all the way up. So it's not as pretty, I guess, furniture quality, but it is solid. This is exactly how I built the first door. I thought about putting, you know, wooden cross bracing in there, but I really don't think I need it. As light as these doors are, and especially with that steel strapping as a cross brace there, I really don't think I need it, and we'll find out. So, you know, the whole thing with this is I'm trying to build it, you know, as simple as possible, but I want it to be mobile. And so the key to all of this is that I'll be able to take this door back off if I need to, or whatever, move the coop wherever I need to, put it back together. So not so mobile to the point that it's on wheels, but to the point that I can, you know, pull out the minimum number of screws and take this thing and move it elsewhere. So, you know, I know, my wife and I know, certainly we're not going to be in this house for too much longer, maybe a couple more years, but hopefully sooner than that, that we'll be out and out to our farm. We actually just got a nice piece of mail today that was from our lender for the land, and when we bought the land, I asked them about a mortgage, and they said, no, we don't do construction loans. We focus primarily on land and farm loans. But I just got a letter from them today saying, hey, we're changing our policies. We are going to start doing construction loans now. So I'm actually thinking I'm going to call them up, see if they'd be willing to refinance and also support the home. I've been really happy with them. If you guys are looking to buy land in Texas, we went with Capital Farm Credit. I highly, highly recommend it. You know, when I sat down with the lender and I talked to him about all the deals and how it was all going to work, I honestly I actually questioned him and I said, it sounds too good to be true, so explain to me why it's this good. And the simple fact is they're a co-op, so they're not about making profits, they're all about their shareholders. So it was a good way to go. Anyway, this is about the chicken coop door. So this one's done. I'll get the hinges slapped on it and hopefully get it hung up tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to do it tonight. It's about 9 o'clock and I am beat tired. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and call it a night. Bonus for tonight. I told you I was done, but y'all that watch a lot of my videos know by now when I'm making good progress and the kids are asleep, I'm going to keep on working. So despite my headache, I pushed on through and I went ahead and put the hinges on this door and went ahead and put it on. So I'm out here at the coop. I've got it put on. I got the top hinge up there. But I got a problem because when I swing this door shut, it is just touching up there. But down here, we're hitting pretty solid. So the question is, do I go in and shave off, you know, a 1/4 inch off here to make it fit, or do I work over here and inset the hinges? Now it's going to be extra work for me to try to come out here with my little cutoff tool and cut a notch for these hinges, but I think for right now that's what I want to do. I want to try to do this right to the best of my ability. I don't want to just be cheating things and shaving off the door, but I want to share this because it's lesson learned. Because as I was building these doors, I said, you know, okay, well the gap's 24 inches wide. Well, I'll cut the door to be 23 1/4, meaning that, you know, should be plenty of extra space. But apparently I cut them to be 23 and about 5/8, which is about a 1/2 inch bigger than I had planned. And I don't know if I actually cut them that way or if when I did the pocket screws, you know, they didn't quite pull up tight, what happened. But I don't think failure for the pocket screws to pull up tight would have made a 1/2 inch difference. So I'm thinking my idiot self probably cut them at 23 3/4 and not 23 1/4 like I told myself to do. But that's what I do a lot. I get things wrong because I do not measure twice and cut once. I usually do the macho man route of measure once and end up cutting twice, which is not good because then I waste a lot of stuff. But I've got it up here. Lesson learned. I'll have to notch those pocket those hinges to make them inset in. Hopefully that'll be enough to make it not hit. And even if I do inset the hinge and it's still hitting, then I probably will come over here and shave off just a 1/4 inch off the outside of the door. Just throw the whole door on the table saw and shave it off. I should be able to. The other thing I was going to tell you on these hinges, I got to brag because I am 25 years old now. I'll be 26 in a couple months. I salvaged these hinges off of a bunch of doors that were in a dumpster when I was in college. When I was 20, it was the semester that I graduated from college. I believe I was 22. Yeah, 22. December of 2010. I was 22 years old. Man, it's crazy. Time flies. But you know, I'm still a young pup by any means. But anyway, I was in an apartment complex, and they went through and they replaced a whole bunch of doors in the apartment complex. And the crew that did it put on new hinges on every door. So they just took off the old doors with the hinges, threw them in the dumpster. So I got me a whole bunch of hinges, and these are good. They're heavy-duty hinges. So if you got the space and the means, and you know, you can handle having some hinges lay around in the garage for 3 years that you don't know if you'll ever use, by God, I found a use for them. And actually, now that I think about it, there's some more of them on the lid of my nest box. So I'm putting these hinges to good use now when I'm with these chickens. I hadn't really done a whole lot of other rough sort of work, hinged work, whatever, but I guess I hadn't really done an update on the coop for y'all, and I know these After Dark videos kind of suck, but I do have the rest of it all screened in. So they're on, that's the other door sitting outside. I don't have it put on yet, but here on the end frames, that gap is about 30 inches wide there, and so I put board there and a board there, and you recall it's 6-foot head height, so that let me put 3 2-foot wide strips of chicken wire on there to get that covered up. And then I've got the whole ceiling up here is all screened as well, so that you know nothing can come in on top. And I actually thought about it, me being a collector and hoarder like I am, not in a bad way hoarder, but I do tend to keep a lot of stuff because I think I can use it sometime. I realized that now, since I've got this cross bracing on the roof, I'll be able to stack all sorts of stuff on top of the chicken coop. So I'll be able to put, you know, lumber and PVC pipe or anything that can be stored out in the weather I'll be stacking it up here on top. So got my storage space back. I was thinking, when I was designing these runs, I was trying to figure out how I could design them such that I wouldn't be losing all that footprint, and really in hindsight I don't lose it because I just put stuff up top. So anyway, just some little bonus features that I've learned as I come along. You see the corners are still short up, but that's just because I haven't dug them down yet. I wanted to get everything put together before I dug it down and set it in. So I definitely need to get it dug down and done because I have got to get these birds, the Americanas that are in there, I've got to get them into here, which this run is actually a little bit smaller than the one they're in. But I've got to get them moved in here, and I've got to get the second portion of the run already built because I've got those little chicks in the garage, and they are very quickly going to need to get out here into a bigger run themselves. So I'm under a lot of pressure to get this done. So I better cut it off now and maybe get some rest so I can work on it tomorrow. See ya.